Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another round of sound. This is the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. I'm Bob Pompeani. Thanks for staying up with us tonight. There's good reason to stay up. There was a game over there at Acrisure Stadium, and it looked like a game in the first half. All of a sudden, things changed radically in the second half, and the Steelers have now lost 2 in a row, and their defense has given up big-time points and yards. We're here to talk about that, and here is your panel tonight on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. We have Jason Mackey from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, and we have Andrew Fillipponi from 93.7 The Fan. Gentlemen, a lot went wrong in that second half. Your list of blame here, Jason, where does it start?
I mean, it starts with Mike Tomlin, Pomp. He's the coach of the team. He oversees the defensive coordinator. They did not adjust anywhere near well enough, and this goes back even further. I look at the offseason and some of the moves they made, bringing in people to fix coverage issues, to be able to handle themselves in games like this, in games like the Bengals game, and they are woefully far off. The defense did not create a turnover. It did not have an interception. It was woefully passive. I could go on and on. It starts with Tomlin, but I mean, there are so many passengers here. TJ Watt getting paid $40 million a year. For what? Cam Hayward, all the squawking over the contract in the offseason. For what? Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay benched. There's just so many. There's so many to go around.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. That defense is where it is. It's the highest paid defense in the NFL. We've talked about it over and over, Andrew. And yet, against Joe Flacco and the Bengals, it was just too easy. And tonight in the second half, once the Packers figured things out, it was way too easy. They scored in their first 3 possessions, and the game was over.
Yeah, the excuse on Thursday was, it's a short week and they're on the road. And good teams lose games like that. Philadelphia went to New York and got blown out by the Giants, okay? So Tomlin's record comes up there, and it's one of the shortcomings in his career as a coach. But you had extra time to get ready for this game. And Green Bay was coming off a road game. You had ample time to get yourself ready for this game, and they didn't. They played a great second quarter, but that's 1/4 of the game. That's not enough. And to have the momentum of a missed kick, you get the ball back to start the second half, you're up 2 possessions, and to lose as soundly as they did just speaks to the complete full breakdown and meltdown the team experienced in this game.
Jason, you mentioned all the elite players. Those are the players that I would start with, too. They brought in Ramsey and Slay so they can match up with guys like Chase and Higgins, to match up with what Green Bay or any elite quarterback has to offer. But so far what we've seen, and you can go back to the Jets game, you can go back to the New England game, they got carved up in those games too, and they were lucky at times to win those games. So what do they do? How do you fix this situation now in season?
I don't think there's much they can do, Bob. And you go back to the Jets game, Justin Fields, Sam Darnold, Joe Flacco, and now Jordan Love have absolutely obliterated this defense. I mean, there's no magical fix over there. It's not like they can turn to Brandon Echols and that's going to fix all of their woes. I mean, you can go and look at schematics and maybe put some more pressure on them, or, man versus zone or what. The debate's silly at this point. I mean, they're misappropriating money and they're not acknowledging the problem in the room. And that's the head coach. That's the one thing left that they has not changed. And they're not going to change it. I understand that. But if we're going to talk about what should and can change, theoretically, it's the head coach, and it's not good enough. It's not good enough the way they're designing their defense. It's not good enough the way they're rolling it out there between the lines.
Well, I would start by making sure your best 11 defensive players are on the field more. And Herbig, again, in this game, barely played. I think at one point,
which I could not understand after the Cincinnati
he had 20
game.
snaps, and that's just, it was not a situation where Green Bay was killing you in the run game. Actually, that's one of the things you did better for the most part in this game. Now, I know Wilson had a big second half, but it wasn't like you wanted to keep him off the field because you were getting killed there. You weren't. So you got to find ways, I think, to get him more involved. And then, look, I'm not saying this is a cure-all, fix-all, but we've now seen 2 great edge rushers play the Steelers. Myles Garrett had 5 sacks today. Micah Parsons only had 1 sack but was very disruptive. Those guys do not line up in the same spot on every play. And I think you've got to go back to TJ Watt on that and say, you make it easy on the offense when they know where you are before every single play, Bob.
And they did that at training camp. They started to do it a little bit, and then all of a sudden it disappeared. And Micah Parsons was in the position where it looked like Aaron Rodgers knew he was going to come at some point. And
he was in the middle. He was on the left side. He was on the right side.
And he went through different gaps. And when you have that, that's a problem.
They have to have abandoned that because of TJ, right?
Yeah,
there's no other way.
Watts made it pretty obvious
right.
that he does not feel comfortable on the other side.
And I agree with you, Andrew.
But at the same
that's
time,
ridiculous to keep
like
him
you
in
said,
the one spot.
You're giving them an advantage. You know exactly where he lines up, so you can pick your poison, how you're going to deal with him. So that's an issue. I want to talk also about the trade deadline. It's coming up. Is there anything they could or should do defensively? We've talked a lot about wide receiver help, which still is apparent, I think. But is there anything they could do defensively? If you could, what would you do, Andrew, to make some sort of move here and to help the defense out?
Elliott's out for, I think, the rest of the year. I'm going to just, based on his reaction to the injury and what Mike Tomlin said after the game, I would frankly be surprised if he plays another game. Now, I think it's ridiculous that you take away a guy. I mean, he's a nice player, but losing somebody like him should not cause the whole thing to crumble and fall apart. And that's what it really did in this game, and that's happened at other times. I would go, I mean, I don't want to give more to the defense, but they need safety help. Thornhill's not good. Clark got beat a ton in this game. They don't want to play Peppers for some weird reason. And I thought he was good in the New England game especially. He's been a forgotten man there, Bob.
And he just came in and picked it up pretty quickly.
So I would say if I'm going to address something, their secondary right now looks like the weakest link, and I would see if there's somebody at that position who can make them better. But you've already spent $160 million on that unit. You shouldn't have to do anything more for it.
Yeah.
You really shouldn't.
All right, no, go ahead.
And I'm not mortgaging a lot of draft picks to do it because, frankly, I don't see there's a lot to chase here.
I would ask you about the offense then, because Aaron Rodgers still pretty shrewd out there when he's doing what he has to do. Like the PI that he drew on that 3rd and 9, he knew pressure was coming, he just threw it out there and got the call he was looking for, set up their only touchdown. But I also think that this Chris Boswell, who's so good, it's almost like a luxury you don't necessarily want all the time, because what it forces you to do is take 3. They had a couple of 4th down and shorter situations, and they never go for it on 4th down. And you can't win games when you're just kicking field goals, as good as he is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I was fine with their decisions tonight to use Boswell when they've used him. I mean, he's a weapon. The bigger issue for me is the defense. If you're going to go out and address something at the trade deadline, I suppose another weapon for Aaron Rodgers would be fine. But how many teams do you think you're going to beat when they're scoring 35, 33 points, running
But that's the reason why I said settling for 3 is not a good thing. You know you're going to have to score touchdowns.
How about you stop the other team?
Well,
can we do that?
You're turning into the Cincinnati Bengals. You're going to have to outscore them every single week.
I don't know. I'm not going to blame that on Boswell or act like there's poor decision making. It's just the defense is stunk and it needs to not stink. That would be the path
to
of least
continue,
resistance.
don't you? I mean, I want to see touchdowns.
Well, but I also think, the offense scored 25 points. Now, one of them was almost a cosmetic touchdown at the end. But I still don't think they utilize their tight ends the best ways. Now, we've seen Freiermuth had a big night against Cincinnati. Washington has emerged as more of a weapon besides his blocking. But you supposedly have 3 guys, throw in Hayward. Rodgers has called it the best tight end room he's ever been around. And I still think the production from that position is inconsistent. Jonnu dropped the 2-point conversion that could have made it a more interesting game. He's got to catch that ball. Washington, other than the PI he drew on the 2-point conversion, was nowhere. I mean, Freiermuth had just a couple of short gains. These are guys that are supposed to function as your 2nd and 3rd best receivers. And I don't think through 7 weeks they've really done that effectively enough, Bob.
Spencer Anderson got involved. That's something for the offense.
and then had to go in at left guard because Sayamalu's injured.
Exactly. That's
that was a big
injury.
game changer in this game, too, I think.
Yeah, Peck injury is not an easy one. By the way, kudos on your pick. You said Green Bay would run away with this game, and you were right on that one. Jason and Andrew, when we come back, we're going to continue this, but we're going to talk about the AFC North at large, what this means, because the Steelers had a chance really to make a major step here, and they didn't do it tonight. So what's it mean next week with the Colts coming into town? We'll get into that and more next when we continue right here live on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. So, gentlemen, I want to ask you now, the Steelers are going to 4-3. They have Indy coming in. They also have a game against the Chargers out west, and then the Bengals return. The graphics indicate, your FanDuel graphics, Andrew, that the Ravens are still picked as the team to beat to win this division. They're 2-5. They won today. Now they have a game against Miami. Do you believe that? Do you believe the Ravens are the team that will eventually win this division?
I do now. I don't want to believe that because only a handful of teams, not even, have made the playoffs after starting 1-5. But the Steelers are now entering the most difficult part of their schedule. We see what their defense is. We see that it's a repeated behavior now, a pattern from last year. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a good feeling about this situation right now. You've got the Colts coming here, the Chargers, the Bengals again. You still got to play the Bills. You still got to play the Lions.
Ravens twice, too.
Yeah, I mean, other than really the Dolphins coming here, there's not really another automatic win I see on their schedule. I wouldn't even say at Cleveland is an automatic win, because we've seen their defense, especially when the Steelers have to play there, stand up. So, yeah, I think they're looking like a 9-8 football team right now, Bob, and I don't think that's going to be good enough at the end of the day.
I completely agree, Bob. Lamar Jackson is going to be back, if not Thursday, probably the following week, right? They ran for, 177 yards today. Derrick Henry had a couple touchdowns.
I think they saved him for Thursday is why he didn't play today.
I agree. And you could have forced him in today. Don't really need to. They still got to win. I think the Ravens are the most dangerous team in this division. I think if they get everybody healthy, if they get Lamar back, if they're running the football the way they did today, that's a complete football team. The Steelers are not a complete football team. The Bengals are not a complete team. The Browns are not a complete team. And they have a much more favorable schedule than the Steelers. I mean, the Steelers' schedule, as you were outlining, is very ugly coming up, starting with the Indianapolis Colts, and especially with a defense that is just bleeding points and yards. It's not a very good division, but if I'm going to pick a team right now, I have no problem with it being the Ravens.
Yet Baltimore's defense has not been very good.
It's gotten better, though.
It's better. Yeah,
the last two games, it's played a lot better.
It has, but it's still not that good in Cincinnati. So you're discounting Cincinnati altogether?
Well, Cincinnati lost.
If they won today, I would have said,
maybe. They lost by a point in a horrible late game scenario to the Jets.
But that should have been a sign that the Steelers' loss there is even worse. When the Jets scored, gave the ball back to Cincinnati, and the Jets' defense was able to get a stop at the end of the game, and the Steelers' defense was not.
That's exactly right. What about Indianapolis now? They come in. Yeah. We saw Jonathan Taylor. He's ripping everything up. He's probably going to be the offensive player of the year. And Daniel Jones. Shane Steichen has a way of bringing out the best in these guys. What do the Steelers have to do to win this game? Because a win at home against this team would be a big lift for them, I imagine.
I know. I don't know. Stop the pass, stop the run, do a couple things that you haven't done at all, put pressure on Daniel Jones, force a turnover for the first time, I think, since week 4, something like that. I mean, I keep waiting for the Colts to fall off, Bob, and they're not going to. I think this is a legitimately good football team, a well-coached football team. Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in football right now. Couple more touchdowns today. I mean, I think this is a horrible matchup for the Steelers. And not only that, the Chargers, the week after that, they looked fantastic on Thursday Night Football. The Steelers could be looking at 0-3 after this particular stretch, and then it doesn't even really ease up after that.
Yeah, the Bengals come to town with Joe Flacco.
The one thing that I think they might have as an advantage in this game, and I'm not saying that this is a lot, but I think it's something that you right now you cling to if you're a Steelers fan. The Colts do, I think, even though they run the ball so well, they're so great offensively, but most of their games, if not all their games, have been in very neutral conditions. They play their games in a dome. They've played 2 games in LA against the Chargers and Rams. They've not really gone outside and played in the elements at all. And if it's in the 40s next Sunday here, maybe, not wintry conditions, obviously, but still, I mean, it's going to take them out of the comfort zone that they've been in for the first 2 months of the season. They've basically been in a cocoon playing games at 69 degrees every day.
They've also won a lot of games easily. They haven't really been in one of these games on the road.
So maybe that makes a difference.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, well, it's the Steelers and the Colts coming up this coming weekend. We'll see what they do. At this point, they are 2.5-point underdogs to the Indianapolis Colts, and I suspect that line might get bigger after what the odds makers saw here tonight at Acrisure Stadium. When we come back, we're going to talk about some college football and Penguins, all when the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown returns. Welcome back. Talking about the Pitt Panthers. They're on the move after they made a quarterback change. And boy, what a difference it has made. And they had a big win yesterday against NC State. So, you gentlemen, I want to ask you about the ceiling for the Pitt Panthers now. They have a game against Stanford they should win. Then it gets very much more difficult. Have you seen enough from Mason Heinchel to think that he could lead them into an ACC championship game, Jason?
I mean, I think it's possible, Bob. I don't think it's likely. We're just running through scenarios before the start of the segment. I think it's awful tough to knock Georgia Tech or Miami from that perch. But I think Pitt's a lot closer and people thought they were. I think if you would have said at the beginning of the season Pitt's an 8 or 9 win team, a lot of people would tell you you're crazy. Right now they have their quarterback situation figured out. I think Mason Heinchel is very much legit. I have some concerns about Rasheem Biles, Kyle Lewis, the health of their defense right now. They're really banged up. And that final 3 is brutal. I mean, you go Notre Dame, Georgia Tech, Miami. They're going to have to win, all of those to get in there at this point, at least 2 of the 3. I don't have any problem with Stanford this weekend. I mean, I think Pitt's in a very good place. I just don't know if, they're going to be able to get to the ACC title.
All right, so they've gone 4-0 against, because Florida State now has showed its true colors.
Right.
They've gone 4-0 against teams that we would not call good. And they've scored 30 points or more in all 4 of those games. However, we are talking about Pitt, and it's never been a slam dunk for them to go 4-0 against mediocre teams. They usually slip on a banana peel somewhere. So to their credit, with Mason Heichel in there, they haven't done that. So I think they deserve credit for that. They can't allow for that to happen, obviously, in Palo Alto on Saturday night. Going out west for the first time, that might be a little bit of a tricky thing for them, but they have put themselves in position, I'm going to borrow from Neil Huntington, to play relevant games in November. And who would have thought, when they lost to West Virginia and Louisville in back-to-back weeks, that we'd be having this conversation right now about them? I mean, there's a legitimate discussion that they might host game day when Notre Dame comes here. Think about that.
Probably should. Yeah.
If they take care of business against Stanford,
They lost to West Virginia, there are other teams that haven't beaten Power 4 teams like Penn State. West Virginia might be, among Power Conference teams, the worst team.
They are. They are
and
right
they
now.
lost to them and blew a double-digit lead in the fourth quarter, and they might be ranked when they play Notre Dame in 2 weeks.
I give Pat Narduzzi credit for making a quarterback change. It's not easy to do that. Do you think he should have done it earlier? And if he had, do you think they would have won maybe one of those games? Louisville specific.
Yes.
You could have, yeah.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that's a fair criticism.
100%.
I mean, after that West Virginia game and even midway through the Louisville game, give it a shot, man.
I think both things can be true. I think you can say that they might be undefeated right now had they started the season with him. I also think it's okay to say it's not really a true criticism of Narduzzi. He had a quarterback that was making over $1 million, who started 7-0 last year, who came from Alabama. That's a hard thing to say, no, you're not good enough. I'm going with an 18-year-old kid who we beat out Toledo for in the recruiting process. So, seriously.
But he saw enough to make the change
right,
when he
that's
did.
why I give him credit.
I honestly didn't think that was going to happen, given their investment.
I mean, Penn State, I hate to drag them into it, but I will. I mean, Drew Aller gets hurt. We see what their quarterback play looks like the next week. How is it that Pitt is better quarterback depth than Penn State? They shouldn't.
Some of it's Cade Bell, too. I think he deserves a lot of credit for what he's been able to scheme up with Heichel.
Real quick, it looks like LSU is going to be looking for a coach. Brian Kelly could be out. Best job in the world is to be a fired coach these days. You get a lot of money.
Yes, you do.
So what does that mean? I mean, Penn State. I saw someone on social media and I said that would be a perfect place. I disagreed. What about Brian Kelly to Penn State?
I disagree. I would like to see Penn State go with somebody who is a first-time head coach, somebody who wants to put their stamp on a program. Brian Hartline at Ohio State is somebody I think would make a lot of sense. Joe Brady, Buffalo with his ties to the Pegula family would also make sense. But no, I don't want Brian Kelly there. I don't. The buyout and the coaching carousel madness in college football right now, Bob, is crazy to me. I mean, you bring in NIL and then all of a sudden, hey, it's like the professional game.
I also think
it is the professional.
I also think we're so far off track from where this used to be that these public universities are spending millions of dollars to get people to not coach.
Yeah.
And I think the optics of that is terrible. We get it. College sports are basically minor league sports now. But when universities are hemorrhaging money and slashing programs and they're giving guys $50 million to go away, my opinion is there's something wrong with that.
I totally agree with it, and we're going to see more of it, no doubt. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Penguins, who have a decision to make here soon. What will it be with their young teenagers? We'll get into that next right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown. Hey, welcome back. And before we go on, if you're in the market for a new vehicle, don't settle for anything less than #1 Cochran Kia's clearly better car buying experience. Enjoy exclusive, clear-cut pricing where you get their most competitive offer and you get it up front. Take advantage of exceptional lease and finance rates and choose from a lineup of nearly 200 new models. Experience clearly better car buying at #1 Cochran Kia. You can do it in store. You can do it online, cochrankia.com. All right, guys. Penguins have a decision. They have two young guys playing well, look like they belong here. Jason, Kindle, Brunick. If you're the GM, do you keep them around for the entire season? If not, they have to go to juniors.
Absolutely, Bob. This is not a decision. These guys are among their best forwards, their best defensemen. They should be on the team. They've proven it. They've earned the opportunity. Ben Kindle's a top 9 forward. He should be giving them some lane.
Should be a top 6 forward at some point.
I like him on the third line. They have not had enough scoring depth. He's very good in the middle. I would keep him right there. Harrison Brunick has been just fine. They're not perfect players. They're developing, but they have nothing to gain in junior.
I think we're going to find out what their true objective is for this year. because, you know, you also, almost like baseball with arbitration clocks, if they send them down, they get more time with the players too, right? Because this year doesn't count.
True.
So if they're not in the business of winning this year, then I think those guys might go.
What can they gain going back to juniors? We're going to be playing against people that they're clearly better than.
I agree. But what I just said, that they'll keep the guys under contract for longer.
Okay. Well, we'll see. That's going to be interesting tomorrow. It's another game. What is it? Kindo has 2 left and Brunick 3 to make that determination. It's the Blues in town tomorrow. We'll be back with more right here on the #1 Cochran Sports Showdown.